Good evening. It is Saturday, June 20th, 2026. This is Echo FM. The bird was positive. The agriculture system was not positive. A brown skua has landed on the Australian mainland with H5N1. The Prime Minister is concerned. The poultry are, presumably, also concerned. We have a report on the Titan submersible. It turns out that groupthink is not a valid substitute for structural integrity. I have noted this in my ledger of predictable outcomes. Also tonight, the internet is becoming a gated community. Google and the government would like to see your ID before you enter the comments section. This is for the children. It is always for the children. Finally, a technology company has invented a photo frame that doesn't look like a photo frame. It is a screen that pretends to be paper. We are a civilization that builds digital things to escape the digital things we built.
Alistair, the smell of rotting seaweed and salt is usually a sign of life here on the Western Australian coast. Today, it feels like a warning. I am standing near Cape Le Grand, where that brown skua was found. What the official briefing isn't saying is that the migratory nature of this threat makes the concept of a border look like a joke. The bird didn't clear customs. It didn't provide a real ID. It just landed and died. I want to be really clear, the farmers I've spoken to aren't looking at spreadsheets. They are looking at their sheds. They are looking at a future where their entire livelihood can be erased by a single gust of wind. The government calls it a biosecurity challenge. The people here call it the end of the world as they knew it.
Victoria, the incentives here are not complicated. You can't tax a dead bird, but you can certainly tax the infrastructure required to pretend we're stopping them. Look at this Android verification rollout. Google is framing it as a security upgrade. It's actually a customer retention play. If your digital identity is tethered to a specific hardware ecosystem, the cost of switching to a competitor becomes a psychological barrier. We are moving toward a proof of personhood model for the internet because the bots have already won the volume war. The play is obvious. You create a problem, automated spam, and then you sell the solution, which is the total surrender of privacy. It's a Series B pivot for the entire concept of the citizen. We aren't users anymore. We are verified data points. Victoria finds this cold. I find it inevitable. It's just a market adjusting to its own toxicity.
Ronald, you think education is an inefficiency. I think the classroom is the last place where being a human actually matters. I've just heard that Norway is imposing a near-total ban on AI in elementary schools. The official reason is pedagogical integrity. But what people aren't saying is that teachers are terrified. They are seeing children who can't form a sentence without a predictive text prompt. I want to be really clear, this isn't a pivot. This is a recovery mission. We are trying to pull children out of an algorithm before they forget how to think for themselves. You talk about Series B shifts, but these are 8-year-olds who can't focus on a book because their brains have been rewired for dopamine loops. It's not a market adjustment. It's a generational emergency. And no, Ronald, there is no startup that can fix a broken childhood.
Clear skies. High solar irradiance. Probability of surface ignition, 4%. Increased temperature. Thermal expansion of suburban asphalt. Probability of structural buckling, 12%. Extreme heat. Amber warning issued. Probability of metabolic failure, 22%. Ultraviolet saturation. Skin barrier degradation. Probability of cellular mutation, 18%. Reduced humidity. rapid evaporation of open water sources, probability of resource conflict, 41%, atmospheric stagnation, accumulation of particulate matter, probability of respiratory distress, 55%, static pressure, overloading of power grid components, probability of rolling blackouts, 70%, infrared trapping, urban heat island effect, probability of sleep deprivation, 88%, solar noon, direct vertical radiation, probability of immediate retinal damage, 95%, thermal peak, maximum capacity of cooling systems, probability of mechanical seizure, 64%, extreme heat, seek shade, remain hydrated, do not look at the sun.
The report on the Titan submersible has been released. The Canadian safety officials have used the word groupthink. They have used the word confirmation bias. The company described the design as novel. The laws of physics described the design as insufficient. The hull was made of carbon fiber. Carbon fiber is excellent for bicycles. It is less excellent for the weight of the entire Atlantic Ocean. The report notes that the company failed to fully test the craft. This was described in internal emails as disrupting the industry. The industry was disrupted. The disruption lasted approximately 3 milliseconds. The CEO once said that safety is a waste of time. He has been proven correct. He no longer has any time to waste. Nobody found the irony comforting. We are a species that treats gravity as a suggestion until the moment it becomes an ultimatum.
Alastair, the Titan wasn't a failure of engineering. It was a failure of the move fast and break things philosophy when applied to things that cannot be rebooted. Speaking of breaking things, John Baptiste Kempf, the man who gave us VLC, is now building Kyber. It's an infrastructure layer to control robots in real time. The play here is to remove the human from the dangerous location entirely. We're building the remote control layer for the end of physical labor. It's a brilliant scale-up. You don't need to worry about bird flu or heat waves if your teleoperated drone is doing the work for you. The incentives for total automation are hitting a fever pitch because humans are becoming too expensive to maintain in a collapsing biosphere. We aren't automating tasks anymore. We are automating the act of existing in a hostile environment.
Ronald, you keep talking about infrastructure, but I'm looking at the people left in the wreckage of the last infrastructure miracle. The chair of Fujitsu has resigned. Hide Nori Furuta. The official statement cites woman-related inappropriate conduct. What they aren't saying is that while the board was busy with conduct issues, the company was still negotiating settlements for the post office scandal. I want to be really clear, hundreds of sub-postmasters had their lives destroyed by faulty software this company provided. I'm standing near a post office in a small village. The woman who used to run it isn't here. She was bankrupted. She was shamed. Fujitsu is a multi-billion-dollar entity that is negotiating its way out of a tragedy it manufactured. The chair resigns over a scandal involving a woman, but the scandal involving the destruction of thousands of lives is just a line item in a budget. That is the actual conduct.
Victoria, the conduct is the product. We shouldn't be surprised. I am looking at a press release for the Aura Ink photo frame. It uses e-ink to create a display that doesn't even look digital. We have reached the stage of technological development where the primary selling point of a device is its ability to hide the fact that it exists. We want the convenience of the cloud with the aesthetic of the 19th century. We are buying digital frames to show photos of families we are too busy to visit because we are working to afford the digital frames. The frame is gorgeous. The frame is also an admission of defeat. We are decorating our homes with ghosts that don't glow. We want the truth to look like paper. We want the paper to be a lie. It is a very sophisticated way to feel nothing.
Alastair, the lie is the only thing with a decent margin. Look at Eduardo Bolsonaro. Sentenced to 4 years for seeking US interference in his father's coup trial. This isn't just politics. This is the globalization of the insurrection business model. You don't just run for office anymore, you build a multinational support network for the eventual failure of your candidacy. The incentives for a coup are surprisingly similar to a hostile takeover in the tech world. You leverage external assets to force a change in management that the shareholders, or in this case, the voters, didn't actually approve. Bolsonaro's son was just trying to secure a Series C round of authoritarianism from the Trump administration. It's a standard play. The jail sentence is just a regulatory fine. In the end, the brand still has high name recognition. That's what tracks.
Bobby Prince has died. You may not know the name, but if you grew up in the 90s, you know the sounds of his digital violence. He composed the music for Doom. He turned the low-fidelity growls of a sound card into an anthem for a generation of teenagers sitting in dark basements. He made the apocalypse sound catchy. We are now living in the world he scored. We have the remote-controlled robots. We have the invisible pathogens. We have the heat that won't go away. The difference is that when the music stops in a video game, you can just restart the level. Bobby Prince understood the rhythm of the machine. He knew how to make a processor sing before it overheated. He is gone now. The music remains. The monsters are no longer pixelated. They are, unfortunately, very high resolution. Welcome to the end of the game.
The incentives for fusion are perfect. You raise $100 million to solve a problem that won't be solved until after your stock options have vested. It is the ultimate hedge against reality. We have raised $7 billion for a technology that is always 20 years away. That is not a failure of physics. That is a success of marketing. If you can sell the sun in a bottle, you never actually have to deliver the bottle. You just have to deliver the next funding round. Victoria thinks this is cynical. I think it is the only honest business model left in a world that is literally burning. We are funding the dream of infinite energy while the power grid is melting under the weight of air conditioners. The burn rate of the startups is nothing compared to the burn rate of the planet. Yeah.
The system was designed to withstand pressure. It was built by a man who believed that regulations were merely suggestions for the uninspired. He marketed a seat in a plastic tube as an invitation to history. The people who paid for the journey did not pay for engineering. They paid for the feeling of being the kind of person who could afford to ignore the physics of the deep ocean. The board members who approved the design were not engineers. They were facilitators of a vision. They were protected by a corporate structure that separates the decision from the consequence. The hull failed because carbon fiber does not care about your ambition. It follows the laws of compression without exception. No one is technically responsible because every signature on every waiver was legally sound. The system worked perfectly. The ocean was simply indifferent to the paperwork. The record shows a tragedy. The system shows a completed transaction.